Been here for a couple of weeks. So last week there was a recording, and we're back again. So I thought we'd do a part two because I really enjoyed sitting and speaking with my brother here today. So I thought we would continue from where we left off, so that people can hear more of the stuff that we were talking about, which is really good. So I know he's currently like making sure his antibacterial and everything is getting all good. So he's here though. But assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Get your hydration in. I know you're going to speak a lot.
You know that.
He's prepared and everything. Yeah. So last time we spoke to Suleiman, and he gave us a really good talk about his journey, and it was more of like a logical thing. For me, it was really inspiring hearing these things, and especially when he mentioned about how he met his friend on the journey whilst he was going for a walk, went a different direction, he was smoking, but then gave up the smoke, and the cigarette fell down the drain, and all these things. And what I took from that as a reflection, I was like, during life we try and plan things.
Yes.
Yeah, we try and plan as best as we can.
Indeed.
But at the end of the day, when these things happen, you think to yourself, if someone tried to write a book about that, you'd say it's fictional. Yeah, and you say, you just made these things up just for a great story.
It's so funny you say that, because I often, when I meet people and they say, how did you become Muslim? Whether those are Muslims or my friends who are not yet Muslim, they say, how you become Muslim? And I say to them, you would never believe, it's so impossible, it's so unlikely, it's so improbable that all of the things that happened to me that led to my becoming a Muslim, it's impossible that could have all been an accident, that it could have all just fallen into place the way it did. And I often again say, if I had a video camera, I wish I had one of those GoPro cameras, stuck on my head or something, or on my lapel, and I just been documenting that period of my life, not knowing where it was going to lead, had no clue where it was going to, but just documented it. Because looking back on it, watching that finished documentary, I think people as they watched it would have probably seen, oh, where's he heading to next? You would have probably seen where I was going. But living it, you don't know what the next turn's going to bring. You're just opening yourself up and saying, well, I don't want to keep being the person I've been, because I'm not satisfied and happy and content with that lifestyle. I want to be something more, because there has to be something more than just what I do: eat, sleep, wake up, work, party, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I always knew there had to be more than that. So for me, if I had documented that, I think it would have made a fascinating kind of snapshot for people of, look what happened, how this person's life changed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but for the viewers out there who know of a comedian and an actor called Jim Carrey.
Yep.
He's famous, very funny guy, Ace Ventura and all that type of stuff. But he made a film a handful of years ago, and it's called Yes Man. And I would recommend people out there listening to this show, no matter what your age, gender, etc., I would recommend to you, go and watch that film. Go, because it's one of the most clever, inspiring films I've seen in a long time. And what's even more incredible is it's based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on the true story of a British guy called Danny Wallace, who his relationship kind of fell apart. In terms of where he was living, his whole life just started to just disintegrate. And he was kind of at rock bottom, had nothing left to lose. And he thought to himself one day, what if from now on, whenever something comes my way or an opportunity presents itself, rather than going, what if I just said, why not? Okay, yes, let me do that. And that's what he did. And the film by Jim Carrey is based on kind of like a script he wrote. He documented what happened to him.
Okay.
And then obviously he must have sent it to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey read it and was like, let's do it. and it's the transformation between who he was and who he became, and then at the end of the film, you know, he's explaining himself, but it's just like, it's amazing. It's just like, wow.
Does the job.
Yeah, just the power of just opening your mind up, and not just going with the narrow stuff that you were brought up with. Not narrow, that's the wrong word. Not just sticking only to the stuff you were brought up with, but actually realizing, well, there's a lot of other things out here that don't seem to be causing any harm. So what if I did say yes, or okay, or I'll have a try, I'll have a go.
That's a big thing, you know, because through life, there's a moment in my life when I did like door-to-door sales. I was doing that, and one of the people there taught me something. He says, you know, life is a comfort zone, and it's like a bubble. So you're in a bubble, and that bubble is your comfort zone. And it says the only way to expand that comfort zone is to get out of the comfort zone, and then when that becomes comfortable, the bubble gets bigger, and then you keep doing it, and it gets bigger. And I was like, wow, that's it's an interesting concept. So from now on, so when I'm thinking of things and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't know if I can do that. But then once I do it and I'm good at doing it, then my comfort zone gets massive, you know. And I'm like, then you start experiencing different things. And that was a key point for me, because I was like, can you do this? Yes, you can. Yeah. And when you do it, there's only two things going to happen. It's either successful or it fails. But either way, you've had an experience. Yes. And there's two things you can do. You can either learn from your experiences or learn from the experiences of others. So when these different challenges come to me now, and especially when I speak to other people, I say, if you are unsure of something, just try it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Is it going to kill you? That's it. If it's going to kill you, then it's a different conversation. Walk away. But if it's not,
do a Craig David.
Yeah, exactly. It's like for now, you know, we're talking about this COVID kind of period, and obviously jobs are difficult, but I've seen a lot of people starting businesses, and there's people who are saying, oh, no, but I don't know what business to do. And I say, you know, what do you enjoy doing? And they say, oh, I enjoy doing this, and I'm like, well, try it. Yeah, you'll be surprised. And if anything, you'll learn some new skills. You'll learn something about yourself, and so it's a big thing.
Well, do you know what? I was going to do this a little later in the program, but maybe we should do it now.
You got a surprise for me.
This is going to be the first on radio, okay? Because radio is all about sound. But when I came in today, I said to Daniel, "Oh, I've got a bit of a surprise for you, but I want to do it live on the show so I can get your actual reaction."
Okay.
So I was meant to ask you something, actually. I didn't ask you this. You're not fasting today, are you?
No.
Get in. I've just done the punch there, just for those who couldn't see it. So, talking about people trying to do something different, and you moved on to the whole start your business, what do you like doing? And a lot of people are offering their services, their skills. You've had a lot of people who are into fitness, who, you know, 4 months ago, beginning of the year, there was a company who were offering internet or online fitness sessions. I think they were called Peloton. So you get on the bike and you're all racing on the bike, and it's live, social media, interactive a session. So you can see other people's scores, but you're in your house on your bike, on your piece of kit. So it's a fantastic idea, brilliant idea, because that way you don't have to leave your house, you don't have to go to a gym, but you've got your screen, you know, set up. Could be a 55-inch, and you're watching what other people are doing. You're monitoring where your score
on the leaderboard,
your level leaderboard. And I thought, that's clever. That's a great idea. They've since expanded. They're now doing other activities. They've now got people doing gym stuff and other things like that. And so, but that was before the whole COVID thing. They just launched this bike thing, and I thought, that's clever. That's really clever. Since then, more and more kind of, it started with quite famous people who were kind of offering sessions on art or how to do this or how to do that. So they were just offering it as like a, let me keep in contact with my followers, my members, whatever. But now you've got people who are actually realising that they've got skills that are marketable. They're a commodity. They can bring an extra income in. So, talking about that, I have 3 children. They're all, mashallah, they're grown-ups now. My youngest is 20, son's 22. In fact, I think he's almost 23 now. He's just turned 23, actually, in April. And then my oldest is 20. So you've got 20, 23, 25.
Okay.
Actually 24, because she's 25 in November. So My youngest daughter, she was always entrepreneurial from when she was young. And she saw her brother making money. He would buy stuff from the shop, take it to his school, then he'd sell it, double his money. So she saw him making, a bit of pocket change. She wanted to make money as well, but she was quite young. She's probably about 13. She wanted to get a paper round, and I said, look, no, I want you to make money, but a paper round's a little risky.
Yeah.
Early mornings, cars, snow. So in the end, I had some spare balloons, these massive balloons that you blow up. Long story short, I said, look, these are some old stock I've got from events I used to attend. If you want, it's summertime, blow these up, go across to the local park, and maybe you can sell them for 50p a pound. She did that for the entire summer period.
Wow.
This is when she was 13. She was selling so many balloons. Her friend, who lived across the road, a little Asian girl, my daughter recruited her and said, if you come with me, we can carry double the balloons. And because the park is quite big and there's 2 pathways, I can go on one pathway on the far side of the park and sell to people over there. And you can stay on this side and walk and sell to people on that side. And then my daughter was actually paying this young girl a £5.
Wow.
They went across maybe like 2 hours they would do it, and she'd come back with like 20, 25 quid, and she'd pay this girl a £5 and go, that's your share.
And go and do it.
That's your share. And I remember saying to this girl, how much pocket money do you get? She said, I get about £2 a week. And I said, so that £5, that's like double your pocket money you've earned in like 2 hours. She's like, yeah. She was laughing and smiling. From that time, I remember thinking,
yeah, your daughter's got something.
My youngest daughter, she's...
Yeah, that's the same kind of story with Duncan Valentine. He had the same kind of thing. He was selling ice cream.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he had ice cream vans, correct?
Yeah, ice cream vans. So that's
and
what
now
he was
look
doing.
at where he is.
Yeah, but anyway,
so, my daughter, the balloons was a summer thing. And obviously, once the rain comes, who wants balloons in the rain? So she was looking for something else to do. She'd already been baking cupcakes for her school events, charity events, blah, blah, blah. And then she was baking like 100 cupcakes at a time, and she was really skilled. But we weren't sure what to do. Long story short, fast forward 8 years later, she's now set up her own baking company.
That is very nice.
It's all legitimate.
Yep.
She's had the who are they called? They are the food hygiene people have come in, who look at all the standards, and that you can be graded from 1, which is poor, to 5, which is top.
Perfect.
She's got 5. So they came, they inspected all the premises, they inspected where she'd be doing her stuff, all the facilities, sanitary, and they said, fantastic, brilliant. So her company is called Delish Bakery. And in fact, this is her little box and logo. If that camera's on, you can have a little look. Now, so this is for Daniel now. So she used to bake fairy cakes, but now she's launching her brownie. In fact,
she's doing brownies now as well.
She launched it in Ramadan.
Right,
she launched it over 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But it really took off in Ramadan because obviously people were at home.
Yeah.
They wanted something nice. So she's launched her brownie business. So this is a little sample that I've bought in. Okay. So live on air. I'm going to get Daniel to try some of these. There are 3 flavors that she makes. She makes a chocolate brownie, which has got you can just pop it open.
Okay.
So she makes a chocolate brownie that has got Oreos and different types of chocolate inside it. She makes a mint brownie, which, as it says, has got mint in it. Now, you can't see Daniel's face. Daniel's look. See,
it's nice. You know what? I've got to tell people though, because it's a bit. I'm cheating a little bit because I've had some of these before, but I'm not going to say no to having more of them. Now, you talk. Yeah, listen. Her business, I promote it quite a lot on Instagram as well.
Thank you.
So I see it. It's Delish Bakery.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I've seen what she's been doing. And I think it's a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. She was starting to. She started sharing more of these things to us.
Yes.
And she did the cake for my sister's wedding. I remember seeing that, and I was like, boy, girl's got skills.
Yeah, she's. I kind of describe her as the Black Mary Berry. You know what I'm saying? She knows what she's doing. She's skilled. She's meticulous. During Ramadan, she was getting so many orders in the West Midlands that I was having to drive her around to make sure we dropped everything
Wow.
off in time for the iftar so people could open their fast. So the business is amazing. And here's the thing. I'm more of a fruity cake type of guy. You know,
Yeah, I
carrot
don't
cake.
really like desserts.
I actually really don't like chocolate, anything chocolate puddingy. But ever since she started making these brownies and even her chocolate cupcakes, I'm telling you,
You know what? Because they're not rich either. It's like
they're
it's just right.
And see, I like to think that I'm a little bit of a connoisseur when it comes to food, especially cakes and desserts. I'm a carrot cake guy. I'm a carrot cake man. I'm a
My
banana
mum's the
cake
same.
man. Trust me, listen, I've been to any store you want to name. I've been and I've had the carrot cake from those stores. You know, the typical supermarkets, the Asda's, the Tesco's, the Morrison's. But I've also been to the Costa Coffees. I've been to the Starbucks. I've been to all of these places. I've tried their carrot cake. And I would say the best carrot cake I had tried, honestly, at that point, was Costa Coffee.
Okay.
It was moist. It had you could see the actual ingredients in it. You could see the strands of carrot. You could see the walnuts. And
We're gonna have to change the name of this show now.
I
It's
thought,
gonna be called
wow.
Delish Bakery Testing.
There you go, man.
with
See?
Daniel and Suleiman.
But I'm telling you, once my daughter started making carrot cakes,
That's
that
when you were
was it.
hooked.
Costa Coffee, I love you, but you got sacked. They got sacked. So honestly, the stuff that she does, and even the name that she came up with, because we were talking about the name, and I said to her, well, really, the problem I have is when I go into stores and I buy cakes, the packaging, the picture on the package, they're selling me a dream. It looks amazing. And I'm thinking the cake is going to taste the way it looks. Unfortunately, they
know it's
never live up to expectation. But hers, when I had hers, I was like, oh my gosh, this is delicious.
You should have bought some of her the proper packaging, because the packaging she does now is
Yes.
really nice with all the labels and things like that, which is a shame.
Well, actually,
Yeah, so like these.
this is what she's now produced. So she puts that in the boxes
Yeah.
with her stuff. So she's got everything's very professional. She's got the QR code. So if you want to order or find her, you can go to Facebook or Instagram, and it's delish.bakery.uk.
Yeah, I'll put that up on the YouTube as well for
Simple as
people.
that, you can find it there. And I've got a challenge for people, because this is how confident I am in what she does. This is how confident I am. If you order a cake from her or the brownies from her, and you're not blown away, you don't eat that and go, oh my gosh, this wipes the floor with this other stuff that we buy from the supermarkets, you know, with the preservatives and the shelf life. And my daughter's stuff is fresh. Pretty much after 24 hours, she'll bake a cake, she'll bake the brownies. After 24 hours, if they're not sent out, she doesn't send them out to people. And
Okay.
I'll say to her, but it's only been 24 hours. And she'll say, but it's not the same taste as when it's fresh. When I
Wow,
make them.
she's serious, isn't she?
Yeah. So what we will do is we bake a lot of stuff. She'll practice. She'll try new recipes, and then literally on most weekends, on a Saturday or a Sunday, I'm driving in my car into the city centre of Birmingham, and I've got a massive box with loads of cakes in it, which I'm giving to the homeless,
Okay.
because we don't throw it in the bin.
Right,
'Cause
I
this
see,
stuff-
okay.
But you know, if she's practicing, making new recipes, so she's experimenting, then anything we have left that we don't eat or we don't give to friends or family, we'll then go, let's go into the town, give it to the homeless people, because
Okay, mashallah, that's
you
good.
know, why should homeless people not have lovely, delicious things just like we have?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's her business.
I'm keeping these, by the way.
Oh no, they're yours.
Oh, okay, that's good. just making sure we have that clarified.
We're on the same. We're
Yeah,
on the,
good,
we're on the
good,
same
good.
page. They
Yeah.
are yours.
They're
But I
staying.
wanted you to try them on air, because it was just. Some people might have scripted that and said, "Look, when you eat them, can you say?" But I'll literally just say, "Well, I know what your reaction's going to be, because I know what my reaction was." See what I'm saying? So that's my daughter. That's what she's doing. And she does this literally, she set this up in her spare time because Ramadan was coming and she thought, let me promote it a lot more. But actually, she's actually training to be an accountant.
Yeah, no,
That's what she actually does. And
it'd be interesting then at that point, because this seems to be taking, from what I've seen,
yes,
it seems to be growing
It's
very
grown-
quickly. And I'm
it's
thinking,
growing
hang on a
enormously.
minute, she was only selling a few of these like a year ago. And now
Yeah.
I'm seeing constantly
Yeah.
things are being sold. So it's going to be a decision.
Yeah.
What's she going to do? Well, she can, well, I suppose if you're an accountant, you're made anyway.
Yeah, well,
but she can also be an accountant of her business.
There
She's
you
doing
go.
well.
Yeah.
And how old is she? 20?
she's 20 years old. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
When,
she-
but to be fair, when you're selling balloons
Yeah.
at 13, you know you've got an entrepreneur on your hands.
And I mean, you know, this is not meant to be a show about kids, but just in terms of aspirations and change and progress, advancement, and what people can become. You know, we talked about the fact that people start in one state or stage and you're comfortable there. And then actually when you push yourself or you're encouraged or you're pulled out of your comfort zone, that's when you kind of really discover what you're made of or what more you're capable of. So one of the first times I realized, other than the balloon stuff, I realized just how her mind worked and how, what's the word I'm looking for? How, not aspirational, ambitious, how
Yeah.
ambitious she was and determined she was when she passed all her GCSEs at the typical age of 16, she did 11 subjects, and of those 11 subjects, she got 11 A's. And from those 11 A's, she got 7 A stars. And you can't get better than an A star. So I was kind of like, and I remember her telling me that they called her school called her into a room. She went to an all-girls school. Let me plug Lordswood Girls' School because they did a fantastic job. They called her and a few others into a room and they had these envelopes with their results in with like a coloured pen star on it.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like, oh, why are they calling me and my friend into this room? And then there was like a guy with a camera in there and they were like, what's going on? Have we like failed? Are they like... And then they got them to open their results because they knew how amazing these results were. So I think in the entire school, I think my daughter probably almost came, if not first, was second. I think she was top girl.
Wow.
And one other girl. So she's done amazingly well. And my job as a dad, really, and I have to say, although I gave her that encouragement in the beginning with the balloons, and when she got her friend on board, I was like, wow, well done. With the cake stuff, that's all her. I've had no input into that whatsoever. We've had conversations, but all the hard work, all the social media, the actual staying up for hours, and she's old school. Some people will use those food mixers.
Yeah, okay. She does it by
My
hand.
daughter's like old school, like our parents. She sits there with a big bowl, with a whisk, and
mixes
she
it.
beats it by hand.
It's weird, you know, because
For hours.
when you hear things about people when they make things successful, or they, you know, there's one thing they all have in common, is just hard work. It's a simple thing.
Yeah.
But I realized during my life, right, and the things that I've done, there's periods where I remember when I was young and I was like, by 25 I want a Lamborghini. That's it, full stop, Lamborghini. But it was only until I was around 23, 24 that I was really serious about the hard work that I needed to go and get there.
Yeah.
And so when I was 25, I had a nice car. It wasn't a Lamborghini, but you know, you've seen my
Yes,
cars and things like
yes.
that. But really, it was a case of I liked the idea of having X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to put in the graft to get there. It was like, oh, you've got one ththing, I can't be bothered to do it. I want to play, play a game. I was proper geek into my computers back then, so it was like, it's either do this or, just play a bit of, it's called Counter-Strike, first-person shooter game. And I was like that, doing that all the time. But then, as your mind kind of changes and your focuses change.
Yes.
And so, for example, today, and I've only got a minute left, but today I had a decision to make because my child was out. He's at going to the park with their friend, and I was there. And it was a case of I had my laptop on, and there was a business thing that I could have done, and it was there. And it was a case of, right, if you do this, you're going to make some money from it, or you can turn on FIFA, right, and play FIFA. Now FIFA was on, and I was there, and I was like looking at it, thinking, in my head was thinking, I could do it tomorrow.
Yes.
But I literally at that point I went, nope, off, on, money came. So it's like, so that decision, you've got to make the decisions that you know are going to be right, and and the hard work, because you can procrastinate. And that's one thing. Procrastination for me is a massive thing. Where if you procrastinate, you lose the opportunity for something.
Yeah.
And it's the same with religion as well. When you procrastinate, you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, it's a do all the time. Yeah, I can. Maybe I should just go out first and come back. It's only going to be 45 minutes. Not like just you don't even know if you're going to come back.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's those kind of things. So it's interesting that you mention those things, and I always kind of reflect because I always take stories from others and
Yes.
bring it back to myself, and I'm like, they're doing something that is inspiring.
Yeah.
So why am I not doing it? Yeah, and that's the way you got to think of it. So it's great what she's doing. I'll continue promoting it. The brownies, thank you. I'm not going to share them with anyone else. I'm just going to keep them. But then at the same time, I've got to eat them within 24 hours, which isn't good because I'm at the gym now.
Once these will last for a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
But
All
my
right.
daughter has a high standard.
Okay.
She won't send them out after 24.
All right. So assalamu alaikum again, everyone. We're back. Yeah, we kind of overran a little bit on there. We got excited when we were talking about brownies and things like that. Apologies. They are nice. I kind of had some more
They're
during the break. Yes, they're delish. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so during the break, I asked the question, because I understand when you're focused on something that's dunya related. Yeah, how did that affect, or how does it affect your daughter's identity as Muslims?
Yeah. I mean, as we were speaking in the break, before they were students or apprentices or, before they were all of those adult type of things, they were just children, young people. And so their identity was being who they were, what they stood for. All of that was being shaped from the time they were little, time they were young. Predominantly that was by their mum. Because, when you've got babies, it's really the mother that does the bulk of the work. The father might go out to work. When they're walking down the road, he's looking strong, making sure they feel safe. But other than that, really, for the first two years, we're just like a walk-on part, you know what I'm saying? So their identity was formed, and all those little seeds that you plant in your children, which you hope are going to grow and sprout into something beautiful, character-wise, personality-wise, that was all done by their mum. My job was just to back that up, and make the path in front of them smooth, so that they could, have a nice, easy, enjoyable start to life. So in terms of their identity, they've always kind of understood who they are, what's important, and they've always spent their time around aunties, around sisters, around other people. You understand? So for them, the idea of then growing up and what are they going to do with themselves?
Yeah.
From the time my kids were in secondary school, I said to them, especially my daughters, and we were talking about this in the break, the fact that I've got two daughters and then I've got a son who's in the middle. And my daughters are the ones who have really excelled. My son's done amazingly. I mean, don't get me wrong, and just to plug my son, at the age of 14, mashallah, my son, Muslim, he passed his GCSE mathematics.
Wow.
At the age of 14. Killed it.
Okay.
His school then said, do you want to do... In fact, they pushed him. They said, do you want to do another GCSE mathematics? He was like, okay. Because they had that confidence in him. He then did a second GCSE when he was then 16, which is in statistics, and he passed that. So my son left school, as well as all the other GCSEs he's got. The thing I was really impressed by was, this is a 16-year-old kid who's got 2 maths GCSEs. I don't know many people who can say that. I can't say that.
Yeah.
I can't say that. So at 16, he's got 2 maths GCSEs. And he was just taking it in his stride. You know what I'm saying? So that, for me, was like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. But my daughters have taken it to another level completely. Because they really are... My son's a hard worker.
Yeah.
My daughters are entrepreneurs. And one of the things I said to my daughters when they were kind of, secondary school, I said, listen, do not worry about getting jobs or earning money. Don't worry about that. As long as I'm earning enough money, I will take care of all of us. Inshallah, alhamdulillah. And to this day, that's the situation. All 3 of my kids were living at home until my son got married a year and a half ago. Then he moved out. My daughters still live at home. Why are they going to move out when everything's free?
Yeah, that's true.
So I said to them, listen, find something that you enjoy, something you love, that you just enjoy doing. And each of them, from the time they were young, have had things that they just enjoyed. And when we saw that they liked spending time doing it, we would just encourage them. Oh, wow, that's really nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, you're really good at that. Oh, you're good at colouring in, or you're good at cutting, or whatever it was they liked doing. We would say, wow, that's really good. My youngest daughter has become someone who's very academic.
Okay.
My eldest daughter, Mujahida, we call her Mojo. Sorry, Mojo. The world knows now. But my oldest daughter, she was always creative. So my youngest daughter has gone into the cake business as a kind of a side hustle, if you like. But she's very serious about it. And then obviously she's now doing she works for KPMG, mashallah. She's a trainee. She's on a degree apprenticeship with KPMG. So in 6 years she'll be a fully qualified accountant with a master's degree. My other daughter, Muj, or Mojo, she's been always been very artistic. She was in school. She always loved henna
Okay.
and calligraphy. So I knew she was going to be something creative. Didn't know what it was. Long story short, she was in school with a biro pen doing these amazing designs on her book. Not her textbook, but her school book.
Yeah.
And she had a teacher who saw her doodling in the class and said, "What are you doing?" And so she showed it to the teacher, and the teacher said, "Come up here." And then the smart whiteboard, the teacher gave her the smart pen and said, "Do that on the board." And she did it on the board. And it wasn't an art lesson.
Okay.
It was a different lesson. But that goes to show you, if you have the right person at the right time, that they can change your direction. They can allow you to become more of who you want to
they can
be.
mold you into something,
Yeah.
can't they?
From her friends in the class seeing her doing this thing freehand from memory off on the board in the playground, all her friends started saying, "Oh, can you do one of those things? Can you do one of those things on my arm?"
Okay.
So she had a biro out in the break designing people's fingers and hands. From that, a girl said, "Listen, my sister or auntie's going to be getting married and she's going to be having this henna thing. Can you do henna stuff?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's what I do. Can you come and do it on the weekend?" And my daughter was like, "Yeah." So my daughter's about 15 and she ends up spending the entire night from 6 in the evening till about 12, 1 in the morning at her friend's house, and more aunties and sisters are coming to get the henna done for her, and she's doing it freehand. And then she's done charity events, she's done other stuff. She ended up going and doing a degree in art, textile, surface design, so she can literally make all kinds of amazing stuff from tiles, ceramics.
Okay.
She can work with wood, she makes curtains, but now she's doing a lot of artwork, and she does these canvases, and she's got herself set up now, and the stuff she does is incredible. I've never seen anyone do artwork ever like this in my life. Never. You know, you get the trees and they have those kind of bands and different. If you cut a tree, and the grain.
Yeah.
She uses paint. She mixes different coloured paint, and then she pours it onto the canvas, and she recreates by just tipping it, turning it.
Oh, really?
She recreates those rings that you see in
Wow.
trees. She can recreate like marble effect. I'm just
You're kind of blown away.
I've never seen anything like it ever. And I've been on the planet a good few years. I ain't gonna tell you my age, but I've been here a good few years. But she's just talented. And both of my daughters are so talented. And like we were saying in the break, sometimes people will look at. There is a view that Muslim women, "Oh, you have to wear the hijab. Oh, I feel so sorry. Are you okay? You're almost a victim to be pitied."
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, no, my daughters are go-getters. I said to my kids, do not worry about getting jobs. Just find something you love and just keep studying it. Go as far as you can. Become as qualified as you can. Why? Because when you decide one day to leave home and get married, I don't want you to use or to consider or to have to take into account or make a priority money. I need a man who's got money. Because if you marry a man for money, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, if that's what you want to do, not a problem. But if that's why you do it, because you want financial security, what happens when things get rocky and rough?
And he doesn't have the money.
And then the money goes, and then what then?
Yeah.
So I want my daughters, I felt if my daughters have the capacity and the ability to make their own money, then they don't have to worry about that. They can choose a man, not because of what he can give them physically, financially, but they're choosing a man that they want for him.
Definitely.
So there's less of a, you don't have to.
Yeah, it doesn't have to then tick those kind of things for the,
Yeah, you are choosing someone strictly for, can me and you gel?
Yeah.
Are we the right people? I don't have to worry about how much money you've got because I make my own money. I ain't got to worry about that. Who are you? And I like you.
Yeah.
And I think we're a good fit.
Definitely. And I think I want to go back on something when you
Yes.
mentioned about marrying someone for money. I want to touch up on something. I listened to a Muslim sister on YouTube. I forgot her name, but my sister mentions her, and she spoke about something really interesting. And she was talking about a topic, and then she said, "Today we're going to talk about love." And I was like, "Okay, love. Yeah, everyone knows." And she was like, "What is love? X, Y, Z." And then she said, she just came out with something that says, "Whatever you love, you're a slave to." And I was like, "Okay, where are you going with this? What does that mean?" And she says, so there's some people who, if you go through life and if you love, and we're saying money, if you love money, then money controls you. If you have the money, you're happy. If you don't have the money, you're really sad. X, Y, Z. You can, and she was talking about if you love your husband, if you love your husband and or wife, and they are everything to you, that you become a slave to them. Your emotions are controlled by the things that they do. Or if you love your children, like above everything else, then anything that happens, you dictate and you're there watching their every move and all those kind of things. And they say there's compartments in the heart, okay? And in the heart, I think it's 4 compartments you have in your heart. And in each one of those compartments is a specific thing that should be in that compartment, okay? And what happens is people put the wrong thing in that compartment and love that wrong thing. Now, what she went to, she gave an example of saying, if you had a car, a diesel car, and you go to, or a petrol car, and you go to the petrol station, and it says, right, fuel is £1.17 per litre. But then you look on the side and you see a water bottle, and the water bottle says, oh no, this is
Free.
Yeah, free, whatever. You don't go to yourself, okay, right, yeah, that water, because it's a lot cheaper, I'm going to put it in my car. We all know what happens if you put the wrong thing in your car. It just doesn't work, or you break the engine or something. It doesn't feel good. It splutters. It does all it doesn't do things. And she said it's the same with your heart. When you start putting things in the compartments in your heart that are not the right thing, you feel it. And so when she started talking about God, the God consciousness, the one thing in your heart that you should have above everything else is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because then you get the contentment. You can't, being a slave to your creator, you're not, what can you do? You are going to do everything to please and do everything, and do well for yourself. It can't control your day, your emotions and things like that, because at the end of the day, you're going to die, you're going to meet your creator, so everything you're doing in life is to please that creator. And you don't know whether it's happy or sad, but you've been given guidelines for these things. But if you then start going, right, instead of my creator, I'm going to love money. And you go, then you're like, but I put money in that compartment where Allah should be. Then you go through difficulties and you wonder why there's points where if people lose their job, that's it. The world comes crashing down. I've been in that position. I've lost a job. I've been in a position where I'm thinking I'm king of the, all these things, and I've got loads of money. And then it gets taken away and you're like, oh, okay. So you may think that you can have all these things in the dunya. But at the end of the day, you don't control that. And it can go at any point. So you need to remember and be grateful of those points when you have them, and also have the patience when you don't. Because it could have gone 2 ways. I could have become very depressed and been like, oh, I've got no money now, and that's it. And I'm a slave to it. Or you turn to Allah and you're like, okay, I understand what's going on here. You've humbled me.
You're spot on, mashallah. Back in the day, there were certain things that me and my friends in our lifestyle that we did. And when you look back at it, you realize that that thing, you devoted yourself to it. You believed that it would give you the happiness that you needed, or it would satisfy whatever it was your need was. And so you prioritized it. And actually, you look back and you think a lot of our life was governed by those things. You wake up in the morning because you're going to go and meet your friends, because you're going to go and do X, Y, and Z. And that was almost your motivation for the day. It was just to be able to kind of just keep pleasing yourself. And kind of, gratification all the time. So if that wasn't happening, it was like, oh, we're bored, there's nothing happening, there's nothing going on. When obviously there's so much going on, but we just had our narrow things that we repetitively just kept doing, habitual. And I think that's what it was. I got to the point where my upbringing was very different than my late teenage years. My upbringing was full of people and things and ideas and values, and happiness was based on things and people, conversations, experiences. And from that 16 to kind of 19, 16 to 20, that's when I was kind of, well, I'm a man now, so I'm going to do my own thing. And it was all that experimenting, the influences. I think when you have when you have certain anchors that your parents have put in you from the time you were young, you can drift off. You can get taken out to sea. You know, you will follow this wind or that wind or go in any direction. But if you've got certain anchors and you've kind of kept them maintained somehow, no matter how far out you drift, sometimes a reminder from someone makes you go, oh, you're right. Maybe I do need to think. And sometimes even if you really drift far, your own conscience will kind of tap you on the shoulder and go, is this really you? You really going to do this stuff? Because it's a reminder of who you really are or who you really used to be. So I think with me, that's kind of, you know, someone said, you know, wherever the wind, you know, as someone who doesn't have some type of way of guiding themselves, they've got no anchor, then they're a little bit like a ship in the wind. Wherever the wind blows, they just drift off to. So kind of bringing this back to me, my kids, where they are in life now. My kids know that money is not the be-all and end-all. But they also understand that money, some people say money is the root of all evil. It's not. Money is a tool that you can use to do good or do bad. So your choices, you as a human being, you're the one that decides how you will use the money. The money itself can't get up and go and spend itself.
Yeah.
It just sits there in your wallet until you take it out. So money is not the root of all evil, but people's attitudes towards money in life, if you're greedy, if you're selfish, if you're envious, those characteristics, those qualities, or not qualities, but those
characteristics, attributes.
Those characteristics, if you give a person like that money, they're highly unlikely to suddenly become the opposite and do good things with it. They're going to continue to use it according to how their mind works or how the state their heart is in. So with my kids, they know money does not buy you happiness. My kids know money cannot buy you happiness. But as I've said to them, what money does do, money gives you choices. Because if I don't have money, how would I have got to this show today?
Yeah, true.
I could have walked.
Yeah.
But then having money has given me more options of how to get here. I could have put petrol in my car and drove. I could have jumped on a tube or a tram. I could have caught a taxi. So money has given me multiple choices. But choices don't give you happiness. Choices give you a sense of freedom. Because when you've got choice, you feel like you've got more freedom because, okay, I can do this or this or this or this. You're less restricted. So your world suddenly feels wider, broader. You understand?
Yep.
So money doesn't buy you happiness, but it gives you choices. And choices give you a sense of freedom. And when you have that sense of freedom, that sense that you can choose, that's when you feel more content in the dunya. And you, with the absence of restrictions, the absence of limitations, because when you don't, because I've been at a period where I didn't have much money. And I'm at a period where I have a lot more money, alhamdulillah, mashallah. And if you ask me, which of the two would you prefer? I ain't got to think about it for very long.
Yeah, that's true.
Trust me, I don't have to think about it for very long. So money is a tool and you use it to benefit yourself and others. So just like my daughter's making her cakes, and even when she's experimenting, I recognised you're making far too many cakes for our family to eat. Other people can benefit from your skills and talent and your generosity And by the way, she funds all of this from her own pocket.
Okay.
She's not come and said to me, "Can you give me a handout? Can you give me an X amount of loan?" No. Everything she does from her own pocket. And likewise, my eldest daughter, everything she does from her own pocket. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very proud of the type of human beings that they're growing up into. Because I think, you know, between myself and their mum and then all the other extended family in terms of the sisters, the aunties, you know, the school teachers, all these people played a part in them. I talked about that teacher who said, "Come up here and do that on the board for me." Some teachers might have gone, "This is my lesson. What are you doing? Put that book away. Get out." That teacher said, encouraged her, "Come up, show me that." And then from that, that would have given my daughter a sense of confidence, like, wow. So we go back to the whole kind of Muslim women identity and that type of stuff. I wanted my girls, I knew my son, he'd be out there doing whatever he wanted to do and he'd rough it. That's how men are. We're rough and tumble. We discover things. I wasn't going to treat my girls like damsels, you know, or like, you know, or your beautiful little flowers. No, I wanted them to, I don't want to raise people who are either naive, because then they're fodder for the people out there that are looking for naive people to take advantage of, rip off, con. Didn't want my girls to be green and not know anything.
Yeah.
Abby, what's that? You know, and you're 22 years old and you don't know what this is or what that is. I wanted them to, you live in the real world.
Yeah. And
So
the same thing as well. If you don't know your enemy, how do you know your enemy?
Yeah.
That's what I say to people as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with that. That's a big thing, because obviously I've got my daughter, she's 4. She'll be going to school soon, and I'm thinking, where's the time gone?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can only, like, I learn a lot of things from people who have done those kind of things.
Yes.
And there's no point me trying to reinvent the wheel. When I look at it, I think, right, what people do I know who have raised their kids in a way that is good? Now, I've got my parents, yeah, so I'm a good example of that. And then I know other people. And I look at those things and I'm like, okay, so I can cherry pick from this, yeah, and so that's the wisdom side of things.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll cherry pick. So Suleiman did this with his daughters. I've got a daughter. They're doing this. Okay, I'll try that. Yeah, I can try it. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. And at the same time, Allah's plan is better than anything that I'm going to plan anyway. So
Exactly.
I might as well go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's interesting to hear those things.
You know, and because what we've talked about today has kind of been about, yes, we're Muslim, but at the same time, we live in a physical world. So, you know, there's two parts of the human being. You've got the soul, the heart. You've got the stuff the intangible things, the soul.
Yeah.
But then you've got the physical stuff as well. You've got this, you know. And there was a book written called Ghost in the Machine. And I never understood what that title of that book meant until I became Muslim. And I realised this author was talking about Ghost in the Machine, is referring to the ghost is that part of us we can't see and touch. And the machine is this mechanical body that allows, it's like a suit, allows, you know, if you think about astronauts go out to space and they need a suit to survive in that atmosphere. Well, in the dunya, our soul needs a suit, which is this body.
That's so good.
And so we can function in it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't want to blow anyone's mind because the program's almost finished, but, you know, there were times where I've sat over the years and I've thought, we have a voice box or vocal cords, yeah? And we have eyes and we have ears. But my vocal cords and my voice, who is making my voice and my vocal cords and who is telling me to speak? You know, who is it I've got this voice, and if I stop speaking, I'm still me, but you've got this voice here. But there's something inside me, especially when it comes to your eyes. Your eyes are capable of seeing things, yeah? But there's something inside that is using the eyes. Because, yes, I've got my eyes, but who is it? You understand? And
you're gonna start getting people sitting there thinking, going,
you can go
I've got
deep.
eyes? Who's making... Yeah.
You can go deep. And a simple example of this is when a person is, as we are now, we're alive. Okay, we're talking.
1 minute left, by the way.
Yeah, but then we go to sleep. And when you go to sleep, you're literally, the person has disappeared because people might try and wake you up, but you're gone. The difference between someone who's asleep, someone who's awake, alive and someone who has died, the body is still the same. All three states, alive, sleep, dead, the body is still there. The first two people you can wake up. The first one's already awake. The second one is asleep, you can wake them up. The third one, what's gone? You can't wake a dead person up. Why not? It's the same body. What's gone?
Yeah.
What's missing? Why?
That's true. See, that's the thing where when people get an understanding of God consciousness and the soul, that's actually a good way of doing it. I didn't think of it that way, but thank you. I'm going to try and spread that a bit more and see if people can think differently, think a bit outside of the box. So yeah, so this week was a different type of show. I enjoyed it. Mixed things up a little bit. I hope people enjoy it. We'll probably will have Brother Suleiman on the show again. It's just going to become the Daniel and Suleiman show. And yeah.
Oh, my daughter's just sent, my eldest daughter who does all the artwork, she's just sent me something through Instagram.
I'll mention it on the YouTube.
Passion for pattern.
Oh, okay.
Passion number 4 pattern.
Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum.